Today, our discussion is more on pointers on how to record correct accounting entries, prepaid expense, and accrual expense. Good morning everyone, me and my Besh will teach you how to recognize and analyze between prepaid and accrual. Yes, that's right, so pick up your pen and paper to write the differences between the two. Let's start. Prepaid expense is an asset and it's part of current asset. You heard it right. Yes, that's right. And when you encounter accrual expense, it's part of liability account under current liabilities. Usually, it seems difficult when you start to record it and when you adjust those accounts. In reality, it's not. It is you who needed to see the clear picture on how these accounts used for the business. Okay, let's start with the prepaid expense. From the word prepaid, it means that a certain expense are already ordered and paid in advance. The main key point here is, though it is expense, those are not yet used. Those items will be used on a certain point of time. If these items are already used, then that's the time it will become expense and be adjusted on the adjusting journal entry. Did you get my point? To make it more understandable, I will give you examples. Number 1, ABC Company paid in advance 1 year rent so that he can use the warehouse to put all his inventories for sale. Question: do ABC Company already use the 1 year rent? The answer is definitely no. That's why it's recorded as part of the asset as long as it is still in the possession of the owner. This is called prepaid rent. So, next question is, how we will record prepaid rent? Let's start to journalize. Suppose that monthly rent is 2,000 each and started to rent the warehouse on April 1, 2020. First entry, when we paid the 1 year rent. So first entry will be on April 1, 2020. We debit prepaid rent 24,000 and we credit cash 24,000. So we compute 2,000 multiplied by 12 months. Okay? So second entry, when the adjustment is needed to close the rent end of 2020. So the entry will be debit rent expense 18,000 and credit prepaid rent 18,000. So how we will get it? From April 1 up to December 30, we have 9 months. So 2,000 multiplied by 9 months rents that are already used. So when you check your beginning balance on January 2021, you will still have 3 months prepaid rent that are not used. That's why you still have 6,000 unused prepaid rent. Okay, Besh. So let's give them another example to understand more of it. Let's try to explore purchasing office supplies worth 100,000 bond paper for CVSU admin use. Okay, suppose that this office supplies was purchased on January 30, 2020. As of September 30, remaining 35,000 are not yet used. So how we will record it? Let's start to journalize. First entry, when we pay the purchase bond paper. So it is purchased on January 30, so we debit prepaid supplies or office supplies 100,000 and credit cash 100,000. Second entry will be when the adjustment is needed at the end of September 30, 2020. So we need to debit now supplies expense because those bond paper are already used 65,000 and credit prepaid supplies 65,000. So at the end or at the beginning of the year, we still have 35,000 that are not yet used. Original entry of prepaid expense is a debit side. Prepaid expense can be the following. It can be a prepaid rent, prepaid supplies, prepaid insurance, prepaid tax, and any other expenses that are paid in advance. Prepaid expense can be an expense account once used. Okay, so what about the accrued expense? From the word accrue, it means to say that a certain obligation are already done. but still the payment are not yet received or late payment. The main analogy here is the company had problems when it comes to paying the obligation. If these items are already paid, then that's the time these accruals under liability account are debited to adjust and make it zero balance once all of it are paid. Did you get my point? Yes. So to make it more understandable, I will give you an example. Number 1, ABC company suffers non-collection of account from their customer. So today is the end of the month and there are 5 employees waiting for their salaries. Question: aside from how ABC company pacify the frustration of employees from not paying their salaries on time, how will the company record it? This is called accrued salaries, and immediately it is part of current liabilities. So next question is how we will record accrued salaries. So let's start to journalize. Suppose that 2 of the employees receive 25,000 per month, so 25 times 2, so that's 50, and 3 of them receive 18,000 each, net of any deduction. So 3 times 18 is 54,000. So first entry, upon recording of the unpaid salaries. So we need to debit salaries expense, 104,000, and credit accrued salaries, 104,000. So how we will do it? We have 2 times 25, which is 50, plus 3 times 18, which is 54, to make it 104,000. Second entry, upon payment. So after 1 month, the company had money and they need to pay the accrued salaries of the employees. So we need to debit accrued salaries, 104,000, and credit cash, 104,000. Accrued expense can be accrued salaries, salaries payable, accrued interest or interest payable, accrued tax or income tax payable, accrued insurance or insurance payable. In short, they are supposed to pay but there is no cash at the time of payment or late payment. Okay, Besh, let's give them another example to understand more of it. Suppose that company paid the principal payment of obligation but asked the bank to pay the interest due for the next month because they have no cash for payment. Unpaid interests are worth 250,000 and promise to pay the bank after a month together with the obligation next month. So let's start to journalize. First entry, when we record unpaid interest. So we record it as debit interest expense, 250,000, and credit accrued interest or interest payable, 250,000. So second entry is when the adjustment is needed when paying the interest obligation. So we debit accrued interest, 250,000, and credit cash, 250,000. So let's sum up. Original entry of accrued expense is credit side. Accrued expense is a current liabilities account. Prepaid expense is a current asset and it is part of current asset account. So are you equipped now? Remember, once you learn the basic and know it in your heart, then I'm sure you will love accounting. Bye-bye guys!